Hi!
Welcome to Scripts and Giggles with Shoshana.
And Nani.
So, this is going to be a mini-sode.
It's a mini-sode before our megasode. Well,
Mr.
before our
and
next
Mrs.
review.
Megasode. And...
It gives you guys time to catch up.
Of course.
Watch Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get my sister to watch it.
Well, oh, you're trying to get her to watch it?
Well, she's trying to get me to watch one day, and I'm trying to get her to watch Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Maybe you guys should both just do it. Like,
She's already watched one day.
Maybe you should watch one day.
I will watch one day. We're gonna watch one day. I just...
Yeah, we'll review one day.
Personally, I'm not in the mood yet.
Yeah. Maybe, you know what, is it quite
Oh,
easy
do you know what we
binge?
need to watch next?
Go
the
on.
Tyler Perry film.
We do.
Yeah.
That was it. We need to watch it
Yeah.
because
We're
a
doing
lot
the
of
Tyler
chatter. The
Perry
girlies
film.
will give it the chatter during the weekend when this released.
Yeah, and I'm
Apparently
trying
this
really
was-
hard not to read anything because I don't want it to
oh,
be spoiled because we're
okay.
going to watch it for the
Well, I'm going
pod.
to say there's apparently some sex scene.
Yeah, I also heard that. I also heard that.
That is wild.
The group chat was going crazy, my work group chat, and I said, please keep this to yourself. I don't want to hear anything.
It's hard when your name is associated with a certain type of content.
Yes.
Low quality. But he's making money. So...
Well, he probably gets AI to write this stuff now anyway.
Well,
so.
yeah, apparently he was going to build another studio.
Yeah,
but
and he closed
cancelled
it.
because AI can do it, which is actually quite scary to think about.
He seems unpleasant as a person anyway.
I mean, Monique said it.
Monique said it, but she also seems unpleasant.
Yeah, she does.
Her son had a lot to say. It's so funny to get on your soapbox about something, then someone else gets on their soapbox and like, what did you do to me there? It's like, it just becomes this like circle of like, well, you did something and you also did something and now no one can call any... Like, listen, the Bible says, let he who was without sin
Cast a first stone.
so everyone needs to shut their mouths.
Yeah.
That's basically the long and short of it. So, but we will be watching that for the pod.
The only other thing that I want to watch, but like you, I'm not ready to watch, is the documentary about Wendy Williams.
Oh,
which
yeah.
I saw snippets. And
That seems really bleak.
It is bleak. Apparently, Lifetime was saying like, oh, if they knew that she had dementia, they wouldn't have been filming. And I'm like, that's BS.
You guys watched the cut before it.
Come on.
Like, we're not going to sit here and act like the execs were watching it with the audience. That's not how TV works at all.
You could tell already from the small snippets that I've seen, the way that she lashes out at, like, random people, from, like, her nail tech to, like, her family members, or the fact that she just isn't cognizant. Yeah.
But hasn't she always been a little bit weird?
She has. Like, there have been times when she's not, like, always said the right words or done... I mean, we can all relate.
Death to all of them. Like, she is just a really...
But
she's such a, like, a queen of the non sequiturs in that way that I can imagine how people wouldn't necessarily immediately connect the dots.
No. I mean, we'll always have her Wendy Williams show. We'll always have the moments like denial.
It's a river in Egypt. Your husband is gay.
I think I never knew that was a full sentence until you mentioned it. I was like, denial is a river in Egypt. And you're like, and your husband is gay. And I'm like, what? Where's that come from? Also, it's just so wild. It's wild.
She is wild.
She was wild.
She literally was wild. Like, outing people on TV is not your business, by the way. That's not like your bread and butter. You can get sued for defamation. Like, you need to be 100% sure of the information that you're sharing with. She was getting on stage every week.
Yeah.
Or every day. Was it a daily show?
It was Daily Show, yeah.
Telling people celebrity secrets. That's what she was in the business of doing.
But we lapped it up and watched it. She was definitely a good chunk of my uni time. I think that's when I discovered
I don't think I've ever watched Wendy Williams, so I only ever seen snippets.
I only used to watch the Hot Topics. It used to be 20 minutes every single day it would drop. And only when I started to get more invested and they would put the whole episode up, I would watch the whole episode. But the Hot Topics were what you really came for, the juicy part. But yeah, it's just really sad to see that. So that's something that I know I don't want to watch, but I will watch.
Yeah. I watched The Tiger King. Not to bring it up again.
15 years too late.
15 years too late.
Only
And
just
it holds
3.
up, is all I want to say.
It's
And
just
also,
good.
The other thing that's crazy is, because I watched it only once the first time. I was like, I watched Cheer maybe last year again. I was like, this was really good, actually.
Yeah, it was a really good I watched Cheer over the pandemic.
Yeah, and then even that second season when you find out the stuff with Jerry and like, it's all just so like, what the hell? But there's a bit in the Tiger King where they're like, oh, well, obviously you had these 2 husbands, and both the husbands were straight, It's like, I don't know why I glossed over this the first time round, but like watching it the second time round, I'm like, this is actually very nuts. That these two men were basically like, yeah, we were gay for pay. He bought us trucks and guns, so we were just opening our holes. What the hell? Pause. Like a documentary should have been made about those husbands. And then the one who shot himself in front of the other guy.
What? I forgot that completely.
So he has two husbands. One of them is on camera for the doc. Yeah. The other one isn't. So you're like, oh, something must have happened to him. He killed himself. He went into someone's office and he was like messing around with this gun. He pointed a gun at him and they're like, don't point the gun at me. Like, you know, the gun makes me uncomfortable. And he's like, oh, it's not loaded. Put it to his head and
oh my gosh,
pressed the trigger and blew his
oh yes, I remember that.
And then people are supposed to like get up the next day and go to work. I was like,
oh my god.
I actually don't think I would be the same if I saw someone die in front of me like that. Like, it's just so mad. Yeah. And then he got married. He got a new boyfriend a month later. Yeah. It's just so it's crazy.
I mean, the guy was a character, but
he was. I don't know if I believe that he did try and kill Carol Baskin.
No, neither do
because those other guys were so shady as well. And also, and this other thing I forgot, Carol Baskin's cat rescue thing. You can also get tickets to go and look at the cats.
Oh, really?
So she's basically running the same service he's running.
Yeah, but just for other cats.
And I can't believe she's been immortalised in lyrics.
Oh my god, yes.
We're never going to forget about Carol Baskin.
No.
But nobody's talking about Joe Exotic.
He's in jail.
He is in jail.
Oh, that's wild. I remember speaking to an exec about like how they discover these titles and these like stories because it's so wild. I know some of this is just from like in the press or in newspapers, but like I always wonder how you understand the story is going to be as compelling, especially if you're following someone. How do you know you're going to get those juicy parts? But I think Tiger King, like many other type of docu-series, is just a great example of that. People are willing to do crazy things on camera.
I mean, they started making that doc before he was even indicted for the...
Yeah.
So like...
And that's the thing, how did they know that the story was going to move?
They didn't. Yeah. It was just like, just keep the cameras rolling. And maybe you don't deliver like you thought you were going to deliver it in a year, then it suddenly becomes 4 because you're cataloging, that's the word. Yeah. You're cataloging this entire process. It's so like... I know doc seems really cool. I just finished as well the series on Channel 4 called Catcher in Culpa. Ooh. Which is about... so the branch of the police that investigate the police basically open their doors to cameras. And I think they thought that people were going to go, wow, look at the police policing the police. They're so brave and good. And actually, hardly anyone faces any consequences for what they do. Yeah. And some of the cases are so crazy. Like, one of the police officers, according to the victim, raped her. He said he would take her home. She was really drunk after she'd gone to one club, left that club, tried to get into another club. They wouldn't let her in because she was so drunk. Police officer pulled up and said he would take her home. A sexual encounter took place. She gets home. The next morning she wakes up and she was like, I don't think it was right. Like, I don't think I was in a position to consent to that sexual encounter. And the police started investigating, went to this guy and he said, first of all, it's illegal for a police officer to have sex on the job. Yeah. He was like, she basically forced herself on me. So they suspended him with full pay.
Oh yeah, that sounds bad.
While they were investigating. 2 years passed, they said, we've done the investigation, there's not enough evidence. And then he was able to resign from the police force with his full pension. Which means that he could go work for another police force.
And still make another pension.
Meanwhile, you haven't actually categorically ruled out that he raped this woman. Yeah. And every case was like that. They were like, yeah, we investigated and there wasn't enough proof. Oh, we did this and it wasn't enough proof. And it was 3 episodes. I really wish it had been longer. But, like, I got to the end of that and I was just... Every episode, my blood was boiling because I was like, you can't ask people to police themselves. Where has that ever worked? No. I would love to know, because someone must have done, people must do, psychological experiments like this. Where has it ever worked for a group of people to police themselves?
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't think it can.
No.
And people already have so little faith in the justice system anyway. and in the police force in this country. Not as bad as America, obviously, but like then to watch that, I'm like, oh, what is even the point of calling the police?
But yeah, it's what I mean. That's like American Nightmare.
Yes,
where
but
you had police officers who were not doing their jobs, and the girl was saying, "This, she was kidnapped."
Yeah,
and no one was there to help her.
no.
So,
Yeah,
until there was a female police officer who was doing another investigation, and it was like, I found this piece of evidence, and I need to find out who this piece of hair belongs to. And then she was able to find out that it was based on an original case of a woman that was kidnapped and also raped. But the police officers didn't do nothing about it.
Yeah, I think the documentary wasn't great, but I'd heard the story before, and I was like, it's a really
American
interesting.
Nightmare.
Yeah,
It was okay.
it was just a bit like, honestly, what you want to hear from. And I know it's difficult. I think the best documentaries like either have access to all the police footage, or the actual police officers, and also the side of the victims, and they can build this thing up where it's like you're seeing both sides, and you can still come out the other side and be like, these people fucked up.
Yeah.
Like when it ends and it says like, oh, the guy who interrogated her husband.
Yeah.
Ended up going on to win an award for like best police. I was like, that is the stuff you want to hear as you're going through, because like that stuff's gonna make you think, oh yeah, these people don't care about us.
Yeah.
You're giving him awards. Meanwhile, your entire police unit, the whole state police is being sued by these victims for like millions of dollars because you fucked up.
Yeah.
Why are you winning an award? Before I felt this about the army, now it's the army and the police. Anyone who joins the army or the police is goofy. Sorry. Don't cut that. This is what I mean. Don't cut that. This is what I mean. This is what I mean by that. I think that these are just big clubs, really, where people say, oh, we're going to protect and serve, we're going to protect and serve. And I do think there are people in there who want to do that.
Oh, yeah,
but I think there are more people who just want the authority and the power.
Yeah.
And that is why these things don't function the way they're supposed to function. I remember I knew someone who really, really, really wanted to join the police, and post him joining the police and everything that I've seen happening with the police now, I'm really starting to question whether like he was a good person.
Wow. Is he still in the
What
police?
do you want to be in the police for?
To protect and serve.
I don't think that's why he wanted it.
Money?
I think it's the power.
Yeah, true.
I think it's the fact I put on my uniform, I walk in a room and everyone's like, oh, it's the police. And that is fucking scary. Because you're right, it should be to protect and serve. And so if you're listening to this and you're a member of the army or the police, and your aim is to protect and serve, this is not about you.
Yeah.
But if it's I want to go to my school reunion and have everybody be scared, lame. Lame. You are lame. You need help. You need therapy.
My gosh.
Anyway, but on to more pressing things.
Yes.
Pop culture news.
Yeah.
Love is Blind dropped 2 new episodes. Everyone was expecting these 2 new episodes to involve a wedding. They, in fact, were basically everything but the weddings.
Yeah.
We got this cookout or barbecue, whatever the hell it was, that has been teased all season.
Yeah.
A bit anticlimactic, but what was interesting is Jeremy and Laura are done.
Oh yeah, that was 100%. When she said that, she changed the name that she had for him from fiance to stranger.
No, she literally changed it from fiance to Jeremy.
It's just emphasize how much she just does not care about that guy.
When he but I feel like he came in there really pushing this idea that she didn't give me a chance to explain. She wasn't trying to forgive me. She was done with me. But when they have the conversation, she's like, oh, I'll come and get the rest of my stuff tomorrow, and he's like, I've already packed it. So sorry, you wasn't trying to get back with her?
No.
Because a person you're trying to get back with, why am I coming in the house to find out that all my stuff's been put in a box?
She definitely made it very clear that she definitely did not want a relationship with him. Very definitive of that. So maybe that's why he was like, well,
no,
she don't want me.
I don't think that she was done with him 100%, because she was very emotional in her little confessional while they were doing this barbecue, and I think she was hurt that he didn't try hard enough to try and win her back. He said, I tried to send flowers and she wouldn't let me send them to her, so I'm done. Which, for your fiance, like, I feel like that's, so I've mentioned before I'm reading this book about love, and being married, but a relationship in general is a commitment to another person.
100%.
And part of that is going, like, we will face ups and downs, but I'm not going to just pack it in based on one down. He was ready to pack it in after that one down. Even the way that he came to her that day when she was like, where have you been all night? It was giving, he was checked out from when he went out with Sarah Ann that evening. I mean, whatever she said to her, whatever they did, he came back in that house expecting Laura to, I guess, jump through hoops to keep him.
And I think that's a common theme for all the men on this show, because majority of them have been checked out.
On this season or in general?
Oh, on this season. Let's say all men.
Yeah.
Just,
on the show.
Just men on this show, yeah. For this season, they have been checked out. Kenneth is a big example of a guy who checks out. Jimmy, if you really deep down think about it, he, as much as he said he loved Chelsea, I don't think he was willing to do all the sacrifices.
I don't think he's checked out though. I actually think he's probably one of the more switched on husbands. Yeah. I think her demands are unreasonable, which is why I don't think he counts, because he has to work so that you're living in his house as well. That's the plan for post the show. So he needs to have money to pay for said house. He works at home.
Yeah.
I don't know what Chelsea's job is, but she seems to have a lot of free time.
For Chelsea to have a very relaxed session with her friends while her husband is still working, or her fiance, makes me feel like she probably doesn't have a very similar type of job that he does.
From when she was like, from even her being like, sorry, to have the amount of free time to be able to count on your hand that your husband's kissed you 12 times instead of 24, whatever the hell she said to him. Like, you obviously have too much free time.
Yeah,
get a hobby.
But also she's insecure. Like, I think
100%. That's probably what's powering
it. She needs to be kissed all the time. She needs to be waited on.
But also, I feel like she must have too much free time.
That's probably true. I wonder what her job is. Let me see. Sorry for the silence.
And now we've got to sit through you Googling the ever entertaining sound of somebody typing things into their phone.
Sorry. She's a flight attendant. Oh,
right, so she can't work.
Yeah.
So she is sat at home all day. That's what. Also, sorry, I thought you said she was 37. Like, that's mad.
31. But I think she doesn't. She looks like a hard 31.
Oh. So you're tired, but you're obviously not too tired to be shady. Good to know. Was that necessary? Was that necessary? It's actually interesting to hear that she's 31, because I actually think that she seems very immature to me. Like, much more immature than like someone I would consider to be my contemporary in the way that she conducts. I think this is the problem with being insecure. It immediately makes you feel seem immature.
Yeah.
Because, like, why don't you just have your shit together?
Yeah.
And everybody has insecurities, right? I'm not trying to sit here and say that, like, oh, I would never be a Chelsea in any situation. But what I actually find her to be very manipulative. Like she's the kind of person who's had insecurities for a long time, that she's learned how to weaponize them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the way that conversation about him going out unfolded, and the way she was like, oh, I don't want to be with someone who goes out. You never said that you go out. But we'll come back to that anyway. So anyway, Laura and Jeremy are done, because Jeremy went to a boys' night out. Sarah Ann was there. He then decided he needed to have a conversation with her. Yeah. And according to him, they sat in the parking lot of the bar having a conversation until 5 a.m. Bear in mind, he left the house at 10.
Yeah.
His own tracking, because he turned on his location tracker, shows that he was at Sarah Ann's house. Yeah. So when Laura says, you was at Sarah Ann's house, he says, I don't want to talk about that. Which, if you've not done nothing,
you don't have to hide anything.
I feel like, and I think the problem with the two of them, and it would have come up anyway, is the way that Jeremy deals with conflict, to me, is so untrustworthy That there's only so many times you can have an argument before you're like, okay, you have to go.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't particularly like that scene where she's talking to him. He's got his sunglasses on.
And
completely dismissive and just not
very cold.
Engaged in it. Yeah.
It was the same as when on the honeymoon when they had the whole bean dip thing. And then he got up and left, and then later on we found out that he then slept on the couch that night, didn't speak to her all night. Like, it's just, the response does not match the situation.
No, absolutely not.
And I don't think you can ever, like, make anything work with someone whose response to stuff is that disproportionate. Like, I thought we was having an A and B conversation, and now you've gone to Z. Mm-hmm. I don't think you can ever feel safe with people like that.
No.
I don't think you can. So I think she's dodged a bullet, to be honest. Sarah Ann, for what it's worth, I liked her when she was in the pod, and I thought Jeremy passed on her because she was,
superficial.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then to see her at this barbecue being like, oh, yeah, I have feelings for him, so of course I'm going to tell him if the door's open. He left the door open when he was in the blog.
They were probably dating at that point. It's just ridiculous.
She has this conversation with AD and she's like, yeah, I feel like you're attacking me, and then goes on I just find it so weird going on the defence when you maybe she doesn't know, right? Because I feel like maybe that's the truth about villains, is that they don't know they're villains.
Yeah.
But she felt very defensive for a person who hasn't done anything wrong.
Yeah.
And then sitting down with Jeremy and being like, I don't give a fuck what anybody else says. We didn't do anything wrong. Blah, blah, blah. Then got hops on jet skis with him while his ex is literally a foot away and they haven't even properly broken stuff off yet.
Absolute wild. Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm with you. People shouldn't make you feel bad for what happened. That's two guilty people backing each other. So I don't like Jeremy. I don't like Sarah Ann. Sorry. No. I don't like girls like that.
No, she was a pick-me. Well, she definitely showed more of her pick-me energy.
Big pick-me energy.
And I do agree.
The same with Jess, to be fair. She's got pick-me energy.
Exactly. And I do agree that it was right for AD to speak to her and say, look, are you trying to steal this woman's man? Or are you trying to build a connection with someone that you know you shouldn't? I mean, either way, both are wrong. Yeah, even though for Sarah Ann, she thinks this is acceptable, AD is basically telling her, like, it doesn't work that way. But I think
Sarah Ann only finds it acceptable because she wants him. She's not actually saying she thinks is it acceptable behaviour to go after someone's man? No. She's like, I didn't go after someone's man. I had a connection with someone, and that was the language. Like, you're not actually answering the question because you know the answer is it's not nice to go after someone's man. The truth is, I want him.
Yeah, so
I'm going to pursue him. That is really the truth of it. She doesn't like the fact that people are saying, but you shouldn't do that because he belongs to someone else. She's like, I don't give a heck. But I'm going to pretend I do give a heck.
Yeah.
Because, girl code and all of that stuff. But she doesn't give a damn about girl code. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I think that girl code stuff is like... question mark anyway.
About girl code?
Yeah.
I think...
Unless I know you.
Yeah.
What code do we have between us?
I think girl code happens when you have a good relationship with the girls around you.
That's what I said. If I don't know you, there's no girl code.
Exactly. And in this case, the girls don't know each other, even though they were living together in the girls' pod for that long. They're not girls like that. I know on previous seasons, there are girls who are like best buds now. But it's not the case for most of the girls who come onto this type of format.
AD said something which I found very interesting, which is, this dude didn't pick you. Why are you trying so damn hard? Like, she was giving her out. She was like, girl, even if he's telling you all these things, he didn't pick you.
No.
So have some self-respect that you're not going to chase after a man who doesn't want you.
Yeah.
Oh, but he's the one who's... And she's trying to justify, he wants me now. It's like, he wants you now, but he didn't want you when he had a chance to pick you. And that has to count for something.
Oh,
when it came down to it, you said Laura's the one. You out the two of us, you picked Laura.
But I think he regretted that decision from the minute he did it.
I feel like they seemed quite happy. Okay. I think there was something about the bean dip and the situation there. And thereafter, I think when he showed himself to respond, to react like that probably made her more defensive.
Yeah.
And then I feel like every interaction from that point was the two of them sort of, what's the word? oh, we're negging each other, but actually we are like
we actually hate each other. Yeah,
hitting below the belt a bit.
You said it very early on that this joking dynamic between them is not going to last because one person is going to take something out of context or cause offense, and they just don't seem to be on the same vibe. And you were kind of right, even though the whole issue with Sarah Ann, not Stacey Ann, with Sarah Ann blew up the relationship further. I think the foundation between them wasn't strong enough to even withhold some of the issues that he was facing with Sarah Ann, or the issues he caused himself by engaging with Sarah Ann.
I think you can't, maybe, like, the basis for a relationship cannot be your fun.
Yeah.
That's the basis for a friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah, my friends are fun. I have a lot of fun with my friends. Should I be married to them? Do I want to be making life decisions with them? Do I want to buy a house with them?
Yeah.
Do I want to have kids with them? Like, that's not a fun thing, actually. And what you'd want to do is end up with someone who you're like, on the days where I don't want to be doing fun, and when you don't want to be doing fun, can I still tolerate you? And if the answer is no,
that is true.
Just get out of there. I do not think he is a nice person. I'm not even necessarily Team Nora, but I just, something about that interaction between the two of them post the bean dip thing and him being like, well, I guess I'm always a bad one. Yeah, this is not that serious.
I gave you the location, so you should be happy that I gave you the location.
Like, stop talking to me. I just don't like the dismissive nature of the way that he was talking to her. Like, she didn't have a right to be, like, where were you even? She wasn't even mad, first of all. She was asking, where did you go?
I think the fact that he was like, I gave you my location doesn't suffice, but it also shows how self-aware these men are to be able to be like, well, I actually gave you my location.
Yeah, like I tried to get out of it, yeah.
I'm the good guy.
I do think the guys this season are really, really working hard to cover their backs in that sense.
Yeah, agree.
Oh, how can you be mad at me? I'm doing all the things that you're technically supposed to do. It's just her. She's crazy.
Yeah. Or like the way Kenneth
exactly
broke up with her. It was impersonal. And I think
with Tiffany.
When I watched it the first time, I was like, oh, he's breaking up with her, but I'm not 100% sure.
No, you're right. It was very... He finessed the breakup, it felt like. I don't think she came into that conversation thinking we've got one option at the end of this conversation, and it's that we break up. Yeah. I think that he went, oh, here's an opportunity to get out of this.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna say that I couldn't possibly be with someone who felt like they didn't know whether I fancied them, so I'm gonna go. Which, when you break it down, is like, that's such a weird thing. Yeah. That doesn't make any sense.
This was the year, like many years, where I wished everyone grew up a little bit more. I really want an older
But this was the year that you said, oh, people are older than they were last year.
You know, I do think maybe the men may be older, but they're emotionally immature from a behavioural standpoint. Forget about their ages.
I think that's what this season has been. They put it together on purpose to prove that. I feel like people have clamoured for, like, stop putting 24-year-olds on here. Yeah. What business does a 24-year-old have getting married? So they said, here's your 30-year-olds, since you guys were so desperate for it. And then we got the 30-year-olds, and all of them rotten to the core.
I think
because the problem is you need to get people who are emotionally mature. Stop getting these fucking kids who are either kids in age or kids in the brain.
I think that majority of the men are the ones that fall into that category. The women, I think, are good.
Chelsea.
Bar Chelsea. AD was an attention seeker, but actually, she deep down she has a heart. And Laura I think she's also emotionally mature and a little bit older. Whereas all the other guys are supposed to be older in age, but they lack the maturity. You know.
I think, based on what people have found out about the series post-launch, they either... Whoever was vetting this year was high on cocaine and just put random people in, or they are running out of people, and so they are just allowing people who they know have no intentions of getting married to be on the show. Because Trevor, it was found out that he was in a relationship when he joined the show. Yeah. Even this Jeremy that we're talking about was engaged, if not 2-3 weeks before he came on the show.
That's actually wild.
How on earth? Like, who was doing the vetting that they didn't know any of that information? You could go on his social media and see pictures of him with this woman.
I do think that some of these teams capture and cast contestants that are wrong for the show for extra drama.
There's extra drama and like, but they still deliver. Like the only way you're going to get people to come back is if you deliver on the premise. I think this season it feels so thin. It feels so few and far between that people have intentions of being married that I know we say this every season since we've started doing the pod, but this season it just feels like, okay, we are just going through the motions of like, what's the dramatic thing that we can have happen? And it doesn't feel like anyone is in it for the reasons of love. Even if I'm being honest, like, I don't think Chelsea's a bad person, but you're not in a position, and I feel like that's the thing that the casters should be weeding out. People who are not in a position to be in love.
No, but she makes great TV. Like I mentioned before, like a couple of podcasts before, where that interview with the CEO, director CEO, featured Paul Brunson, who does Married at First Sight UK and also consults on like Tinder. And his whole thing was like, you can pick these couples that will get along, that have the same values, and they probably will stay together, but it's boring.
100%. So do half and half.
They should. But you need, if you were to do half and half, I would keep Chelsea just for that.
I think the Chelsea stuff is... The thing is, if you were to flip that, and it was a man and a woman, we would all be being like, get her out of that abusive relationship.
100%.
It's not nice, blah, 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 blah. And so I'm just, for the sake of equality, I don't think this will be damaging for Jimmy long term, which is why I'm not like, get him out of this immediately. But like, it's unpleasant, to be honest, to watch the way that their arguments go. And I feel like, because he, put aside whether or not he finds her attractive or whether she would have been his top pick, put that stuff aside. I think he is committed to making it work with her. And I think that he will put up with a lot of things that he probably shouldn't.
Yeah, and then the Megan Fox aspect.
And so I think that like in that sense, like the show is basically capitalizing over the fact that he's not going to go and she's a nightmare.
Yeah.
And we'll get to the they'll get down the aisle and obviously not get married. Because what business do they have get married? And if they do get married, we fucking terrify him. Because she needs help he can't give her. I think that's the thing. Yeah. I think a lot of people think that being in a relationship will solve their problems. You need help that he cannot provide you. And I think that with Laura, I don't really know why she's not married yet. She should be. She seems like a catch. I assume that maybe because she's so qualified or she's quite senior. I mean, I remember her saying that she had employees at the honeymoon. Mm-hmm. So maybe she runs... I don't know. Maybe that makes it difficult for her to date. But I don't understand from the women apart from Chelsea. And actually, Chelsea's been married before. Like, you guys probably could get married. Why do you need to come on the show? These women could get married. I'm not seeing why they need to come on this show in order to get married.
Money, clout, and, you know...
No, 100%. That's what I'm saying. You can't pack the show with people who are on it just to get clout. It doesn't... It makes the whole thing...
Doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Do you want to come and sit down? Like, I think that's the thing about the show. Is that when we sat down to watch it the first time, we were there for this social experiment, and we were all of us overjoyed that some people found each other. And of course, we were all entertained by the people that didn't.
That's true.
And then they went, I think they maybe heard that, but they only heard they want to see the people that didn't. And now pack the series with people that aren't going to fall in love. Yeah. But actually, I think the majority of us are here for a love story.
Oh, 100%. That's why.
But we're not getting the love story. Like, I'm so sorry, Clay. Like, AD's mum. She was so respectful in the way that she conducted like that whole conversation with the two of them and speaking to AD afterwards. But if my child was telling me that she's engaged to a man, he keeps telling her that he thinks he's going to cheat on her. I'm not trying to have a respectful conversation with either one of you. You need to get your stuff and let's go home. Like, it's not for you to solve. Again, this man needs therapy. He needs therapy because what he experienced as a kid has clearly scarred him.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that he's... Apparently, the man that he's friends with is also cheating on his wife. Like, you don't know what a healthy relationship would look like because you don't get to see one. And you don't know what a lasting love would look like. All you know is that people who are saying that they're happily married while they're fucking other people, it isn't, that's not life. And AD, I don't know how many times you need to hear him say that before you're like, do you know what? I do not think we should get married. Until you can get past this thing of not being sure whether or not you're going to cheat on me, I do not think we should have a wedding. I do not think we should be married. But in the episode, I think the last one, she's like, she basically says to him, I would survive if you said no at the altar. We wouldn't date anymore, but I could survive it. And it just felt like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? I don't buy, like, she really seems smitten with him, but I also just don't buy it because he's so, like, I don't know, he's so boring.
Who, Jimmy?
Clay.
Okay.
Because, like, he acts like he's the only person who's ever had a job. I always find that stuff really annoying. I think about this about myself, even when I'm talking to my friend, and they're like, how's life? You're like, oh, I'm just stressed with work. I'm like, am I the first person in the world to have a job? Yeah,
but it's good to know that whether you are feeling stressed, just in case we can help.
No, 100%. I just always think that, like, it's just so, like, eye roll for your personality to be like, I'm stressed with work.
Yeah.
He runs Airbnbs and acts like he's a fucking surgeon. Chill out, dude. It's not that serious.
I think what the mum, how she spoke to him and gave him the reassurance that you're doing quote unquote well, which again is because he needs to work to achieve some of the goals that he wants. But I think what was interesting was that the mum was saying, please don't waste your time worrying about the past.
Yeah.
With your dad's cheating scandals in the past.
It's not for you to fix.
Exactly. Like, and you're using it, well, she didn't say this, but my opinion, she's using it to be able to cheat in the future for himself and always know that AD will be right there for him.
100%. I'm telling you, like, it's also textbook abusive behaviour to be like, I'm basically teeing up to you what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And letting you know that it's so tough for me to do that to you.
But I loved that the mum was like, please do not worry about it. Please move on. Like the mum saying, like, you cannot let what your dad do or did to you define you. And I think he needed to hear that.
I don't think that will make any difference to his life.
Probably not.
It's not going to make any difference. You're right. It is information he needs to hear.
Yeah.
But hearing it that one time is not going to be like, wow, I'm cured and ready to be a good husband to your daughter. No. He needs to hear that another 15 times.
Yeah.
He needs to hear it over and over. And do you know when it will be the most useful thing to hear? Once he's lost AD.
Yeah. Because that's what and how it usually happens.
Yeah, wow. If it isn't the consequences of my actions, that's when you want to drop that truth bomb on him because he's living with it. Yeah. But right now he's thinking, yeah. That all sounds good. You're right. And then apparently, if any opportunity arises, he will probably cheat on her.
Yeah.
I think it's also like what. I don't know, but doesn't he just know that naturally it's a bit of a faux pas to keep fucking talking about how you think you're going to cheat on me? Like, have you ever heard of a healthy relationship where people just are constantly talking about, like, oh, I might cheat on you today? Like,
maybe they have that thinking in their mind, but never have I ever seen that.
It feels so much like, oh, do you know what? I might order takeout. If I do order takeout, don't be mad. Like, I just know that I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to order the takeout. Yeah. I really don't want to. Like, I just feel like I'm going to order the takeout. If you keep thinking about the takeout, you're going to order the takeout, no?
Exactly. No, of course. It's psychology.
Yeah, I don't know. And then the other thing that keeps winding me up as well is like, I've never been to therapy. But, like,
gosh.
You keep bringing it up. I'm thinking you need to go, baby.
Yeah. I think they were hoping for the pods to be a therapy session.
100%. As with a lot of people, they think their partner is going to be the thing that cures them of whatever they're like. Exactly. And you came on the show, AD, saying you've been Captain Save a Ho.
And don't want to do it again.
And you are saving another hoe.
I saw when her interest in him dwindled. It was when they were having soup. As she was staring at him and she was like, this guy...
Yeah, I mean,
he's on the streets.
I think we talked about that in our when we talked about the series before.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone I've spoken to about that as well has been like, she
had the ick. In my mind.
Who wouldn't get the ick?
Yeah.
The soup thing was weird for sure. Yeah. But it was the stacking the plates. I don't know why, but there was something about the way he was stacking the plates. Like, also, I think actually no. The number one thing was that they didn't have a single word. Just dead silence, listening to him put plates on top of each other. That's weird.
It was weird, and I think that's why that scene felt even weirder.
And then if the follow-up is like Kenneth and Tiffany's scene on the boat.
Yeah.
Where they're just sitting in silence.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Neither do I. Okay, so predictions for the final episode.
No one gets married.
Okay.
Maybe, Amy and Johnny.
Okay.
But also maybe not. I don't know. They're like, their storyline about not wanting to have a kid and not trying to, and somehow being incapable of figuring out contraception the way that everybody else on the planet has figured out contraception is like very confusing to me. I support her not wanting to take the pill because the pill does have effect on people's bodies. Like, she's allowed to, if she doesn't want to mess with her biochemistry or whatever, like her mess with her own hormones.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to take the pill, she shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
But I don't think the answer is get a vasectomy.
No, that was wild. That was actually wild. I can't believe she even proposed that. I think there's other things that she could...
She didn't propose it, he did.
Oh, yeah.
She was like, there are some contraceptives for you to take. And he was like, I don't trust condoms.
Oh, my gosh.
We have been talking about getting a vasectomy. And the thing is, you can reverse a vasectomy. But like, it is surgery.
Yeah.
I think that maybe Amy and Johnny will make it. I don't see it for AD and I was going to call him Chang. AD and Clay. I don't see it for Jimmy and Chelsea. I just hope that they don't get. I think actually, my predictions are based on the fact that I just don't want them to be married. No. I don't want Clay and AD to get married. I think she could find someone for her. I think he needs to go to therapy. I don't want Jimmy and Chelsea to get married. I think he's going to be fine. I think Chelsea needs to go to therapy.
Yeah.
And Laura and Jeremy are done. So those are the only two. And Amy and Johnny, like, I skip their scenes. So I don't know if they're good for each other or bad for each other.
They are a bit boring. Yeah.
I just don't care.
Yeah.
It's weird. I said earlier that like we watched the show for a love story. And then they're the love story, and I'm like, next. I think it's a love story too early on. Like, if you think about like the Lauren and Cameron, like
that grew.
There's a bit of a like, will she say yes if he says, "Will you marry me?" Like, it's growing, whereas they were just immediately like, "You're my man."
Yeah,
it's you. First one's out the pods.
There is always one couple that happens like that, but we just have to wait and see. The finale's happening, and I'm keen to see the reunion as well. Who's still together, who's not.
I don't care. I want to know what the deal was with Matthew. He did come to the big group. I want them to explain to us what was going on there. And I also want them to bring out whoever did casting and beat them on stage. Because I just think that person said, I'm going to take the piss out of people's lives this year. Because how did Matthew make it on the show?
For entertainment. 100%.
But this isn't like an Index Saturday night takeaway.
But
that's an entertainment show.
But him coming to the girls telling you, I've got questions from 1 to 10.
Well, I wasn't expecting you to ask them to me.
Yeah, like he was there for a good time, but not a long time.
But here's my issue: it's either entertainment or exploitation. Like it's either that man. When you did your psych test or whatever, you knew, he's not going to be able to handle this, and you put him on the show anyway.
I mean, that
is what I like to know because. With a lot of reality TV shows, at the time we're like, these people are all idiots, they wanted to come on for clout, blah, blah, blah. And then 10 years pass and you find out that the truth wasn't that at all.
Yeah.
So I'm really reticent to say everybody who's on here is on here because they just wanted to profit off their bad behaviour.
No, I do think some people came for love.
I think, people probably did come for love, but they're not fit for they're not fit for purpose.
No.
And... in which case, then the people that make Love is Blind is exploiting them. I would love to one day do a review about this show where it's like overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah.
I just feel like recently it's just hard to enjoy. Like those last 2 episodes were a waste of my fucking time.
Yeah, I mean, I really wish that we just got to the weddings. But we'll find out.
Not to mention that Chelsea met Trevor.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, because we know that Trevor has a girlfriend, it's like,
I'm not interested
how am I supposed to be excited or
Yeah.
feel like there's any tension in this? He's not going to marry Chelsea.
Yeah. No, not at all. But anyway.
Next week we will get back to our scheduled programming.
Yep, I'll get some more sleep.
Yeah, Shoshana will get some more sleep.
And
You know, let's not hold our breath because she keeps turning up tired. So you'd think that she's the first person in the world to have a job, the first person in the world to sleep. The rest of us apparently don't need sleep as much as she does.
I can't keep my eyes open. It's so hard. But anyway, this has been Scripts and Giggles with Shoshana.
And Ronnie.
Bye.
Bye.